Hey, what is up guys? It is your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be taking a look at ARTEEZY's mid-game and late-game farming rotations that allow him to create space for himself. A lot of the time I see carry players kind of just, I guess I'll use the word neutering themselves in their ability to actually farm at a high rate. And it has nothing to do with the items they build. It has nothing to do with the camps they kill. It has largely to do with the waves that they kill and where they position their hero. And so we're going to look at a game where ARTEEZY has a very bad start. Starts the game with 2 deaths before the 10-minute mark. At the 7-minute mark, you can see right here, he is 0-2 with 28 last hits. You guys know that I push you to go for 25 last hits by minute 5, so you can clearly tell his landing stage has been horrendous. So how does he bring himself back into this game? And so yeah, if you're excited for the video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. And most of all, if you're looking for more Dota content, you really like what we produce here on YouTube, and it's, you know, you just want to watch more of it and learn more about the game of Dota, click the link down below, sign up to the gameleap website. We post there every single day, and there's a whole library of videos for you guys to check out that have been made recently and over the years. Alright, so let's get into our first clip of the match that should show you guys a little bit of perspective on why you cannot just bash your head into the wall. A lot of people have this bad mentality, which is if my lane is safe lane or if my lane is the mid lane, that is the lane I have to go to until it's like 10, 12, 13 minutes. No. Especially a lot of games, people are hesitant to do it because they think their team will get tilted, which might be the case, right? It absolutely might be the case. Your team 100% can get tilted, right? They can get tilted when you do certain things, such as TP to their lanes, but you have to do it if you're playing a greedy hero. So, at this point in the game, his Puck is level 7. Puck is very, very strong. He also has an Arcane Rune, so he is incredibly strong at this point in the game. Now, why is this important? Because he knows with Puck level 7 and his level 3 meta, there's a high chance he can pick up a kill, and even potentially put a little bit of tier 1 mid pressure depending on how the enemy team responds. And so let's take a look at his TP as he goes mid. Number 1, he just doesn't want to go bottom. He's too afraid of getting ganked again. If he goes bottom, what's the problem with that? I actually think that's the first thing we should discuss. If he TPs bottom, right, he pushes out the wave, why is it easy for him to get ganked? Why is it really easy for him to get ganked? Because any smoke rotation into this area is going to find him. Unless he literally sits under his tier 1 tower AFK, any smoke rotation is super easy to collapse on. You can wrap through here, you can wrap through here, you can, take the long way. It's so easy to gank. Now you might be saying, why is mid any different? Well, you can quelling these trees to farm the camp from here. You can go up to your triangle, which is just generally hard to invade, especially if the enemy team is already bottom. If they've sent heroes bottom and TP'd heroes bottom, then the triangle is naturally going to be safe, and ARTEEZY can farm the triangle. Terrorblade, if you want to with Metamorphosis, can kill Ancients even at level 5. Now, as I talked about earlier, he's going to be going for this mid play, a very weird play, but he goes for it anyway, and you can see with the level 3 meta and a very well-timed silence from Abed, they pick up the kill onto the Void Spirit. Now, unfortunately, Abed ends up going down, but this is a huge bump to ARTEEZY's game. I honestly think without that kill, he would have had a really hard time catching back up in this match. Now, at this point in the game, ARTEEZY is jungling the deep jungle. And I think most players would look at this and they would refer to a lot of like my videos, and they'd refer to a lot of just like probably even BSJ videos and just carry videos in general. And, a lot of the time this camp is not the camp you want to farm. Right? It's not the camp you want to farm. It's kind of for obvious reasons. I'll go over them very quickly here, but when ARTEEZY shifts down to this, what is the main source of farm in Dota, guys? For like 99% of heroes, besides like Alchemist, right? And maybe Medusa, maybe Naga too, and sometimes Terrorblade. But what is your main source of net worth? It's lane creeps, right? They give the most gold. And so generally farming this camp is a horrible idea. So why does he do it? Why would he bother farming this camp? Well, I think there's 2 main reasons. Number 1, you have illusions that can farm mid. Number 2, you farm jungle quickly because you're a high armor hero with good regen and a lot of damage. But most importantly, he just fears dying, right? He fears dying. He doesn't know exactly what Void Spirit has, right? He doesn't have the taps on that. So there's a high chance if the Alch and Void Spirit work together, they can kill him together. And so instead, you can see him going deeper and deeper into the jungle. Typically, this would look like a bit of a grief. You'd be like, Speed, why isn't he jungling back towards mid? Void Spirit's probably going to push in the mid wave. Why not be there? He's fearing the gank. He understands the enemy team has heroes to kill him, right? They might have Lion 6 soon. He doesn't know exactly what the hero's level is. He might be asking his team, which is actually very important if you know there's a hero like Lion that counters you, right? But there's that hero, but most importantly, there's Void Spirit, who is just a very hard counter to the Terrorblade. Next up, let's look at this next decision. This one is huge to me. In fact, this is probably the most important one. And there's a few of these instances where he seemingly griefs himself just to avoid dying. Now, that's kind of been the whole farming thing for the last bit. You can see he's very afraid this game, but his team ends up getting kills top. And look where he pings, right? He pings bottom. He's like, I think I'm going to get gone on, right? He pings that he thinks he's going to get gone on. So he literally walks under his tier 2. How many people would do this? Honestly, it's like these are the plays that I love about Dota. Like, this is the type of stuff that just makes me love Dota. He's sacrificing efficiency. Most carry players would never have the patience to do this because they undervalue their opponents. Now, in your pubs, you're going to have a lot more vision of opponents. People show a lot more. There's significantly less smokes. And so you won't have to deal with this. And so you might be saying, what is the value of even seeing this clip? The value is for the situations where you do not have vision, because they're going to come up. That's why it basically shows you that ARTEEZY is looking at the map 24/7. He sees that they're not mid, they didn't respond to the top Weaver gank. And so what does that tell you? They're probably coming bottom. Now, the funny thing is they're actually not coming bottom. They were smoking to the top lane, but he didn't know that, right? Considering they didn't TP anyone to try to save Weaver, that's pretty suspicious that they're probably bottom. And funny enough, ARTEEZY even TP's top reading this movement, or trying to read that movement, and actually bumps into the enemy team, which is the exact opposite of what he wanted. So he actually ends up griefing himself a little bit here. I'm sure, I'm not going to say he was frustrated as he denies up some bounty runes, but he was like, probably like, oh, what the? Now, skipping ahead, he took tier 1 mid. You know, his team ended up getting a gank, so he shifted over, took the tower. Pretty standard for Terrorblade with meta. You can help with tier 1 pushes as long as you don't think you're going to get contested, or if you decide to go the Dragonlance build. This game he's going Yasha, and so he's just going to stick with his meta to kill the Ancients. As I talked about earlier, that is what Terrorblade likes to do, right? He likes to kill the Ancients. Now, yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, just something to learn from. Even I don't think I would have made this play. It's a very weird play. But he just walks up and sunders this guy. And yeah, I mean, to be fair, he's got some bottle charges, so it's definitely not going to take emo out of the game, but it at least allows him to farm the wave. It does mean that he has no sunder, and the enemy team can note this and potentially gank him around this information, but he has a lot of great information right now. You're going to notice that at this point in the game, he's going to go full efficiency mode. So if that's really what you're concerned about, you know, in this video, then stay tuned right now, because we're going to get into it. So he's going to push in the bottom lane. Now let's talk about what he does with his illusions. So in this case, he sends his illusions up into the jungle and his hero out into the lane. Why would he do this, right? Because usually, right, what is the standard thing with illusion heroes, guys? What is the usual thing that you do? You send the illusions into the lane and you send your hero into the jungle, because typically the jungle is safer. Why? Because there usually is not vision, and so it's harder for people without the foresight of knowing exactly what you're going to do to gank you, right? They don't know you're here. But he sends his illusions into the jungle. Odd, right? Well, why is it not that odd? It's because of what I just said. When you see everyone, you want to push the lane as far as humanly possible. Up until now, he hasn't done this at all, because the enemy team has been moving around the map, not really showing in places that make him feel safe. But once he saw the Lion top and the Weaver top, which he just saw before, and he knows that the Void Spirit is bottom and they're separated, he does not feel like he can die. And so he does this switch up that I think most people wouldn't do, because they would default to what? They would default to the typical thing of illusions to the lane, hero to the jungle. And in this case, that would be a very bad idea, because he would lose a lot of XP, and most importantly, he would lose this illusion in particular. This illusion is the most important illusion so far, because it's going to push a lane in all the way into the tower. It's going to make the enemy team want to defend, and he got all of the dangerous farm out of the way first. What I mean by that is, considering he knew the enemy team is top, if they're ever going to come bottom, it's going to be either a smoke across, which wouldn't bump into him first, right? It's very hard for them to smoke across with tier 1 mid alive, so that's probably not going to happen. They're going to TP to the bottom tier 1. And so now that he gets the wave all the way out, he can take this last dangerous wave, because they could obviously TP in and smoke and try to kill him here, with the illusion, which is huge. Last hits with the illusion, and now can swing his hero back in through the jungle, send one more illusion before doing what? Hiding in the trees, cuts the wave bottom, right? Doesn't want the Void Spirit to be easily able to kill them, and TP's mid. A beautiful rotation to maximize lane creeps and never put himself in a position to die, right? The Void Spirit goes bottom. If a Lion happens to be with him and ARTEEZY shows, he would most certainly die. I think this next movement's very important as well. The Alk's getting gone on. They're like, oh, gank the Alk. What does he do, okay? He follows the team, and the value of this is that it allows you to get deep into the jungle. Now, this is particularly important on illusion heroes, because when you get deep into the jungle, it means you can cut waves deep, right? You can get real deep. That's what she said. And so he's going to send this illusion mid, right? Sends the illusion mid, and then immediately he's going to shift it back to the triangle. And you'll see that this is a very, very common pattern, right? A super common pattern of his gameplay, which is sending illusions to the dangerous part of the map and then shifting himself away unless he has complete vision. Okay, so the next play I want to talk about is kind of an example of getting deep into the jungle, right? Right here we see once again, skipping ahead a lot, he just took a fight, they took a Roshan fight, he had Aegis, died, doesn't really matter though. So now you're going to see him go really deep with illusions. Keep in mind the enemy team is just respawning, right? So he knows unless they, I don't know, are magical, they aren't here right now. Right? There's no way. And so, knowing that they can't be here right now, he shoves his hero really up far to get the illusion duration out as soon as possible, right? Wants to get the illusion onto the top wave to gather some information, because if the enemy team does not address the illusion, it will cut the wave, get the TB the gold, and secure this top tier 2 tower. Now, the enemy team shows Weaver bottom. What does this tell him? Nothing. Actually, that's not true. It tells him that Weaver's bottom. Now, in your average pub, I'll be very honest with you guys. If you see a core hero bottom, it probably means supports are bottom as well, because people have a very hive mind mentality in pubs, and it makes sense. You know, the easiest way to play Dota at like a relatively high level is to group up with your team and synergize your spells, and yeah, it's not the best, but it's okay. However, in a pro game, this is, you know, some advanced stuff, but I think it should be fascinating to you guys. He doesn't see his main threats. He doesn't see his main threats, right? He doesn't really care about Weaver. Weaver's not really a problem for him. Maybe later into the game, but not yet. Weaver can be annoying, but no. Who's his main threats? Lion, Void Spirit, right? Hasn't seen them. Now, you'll see things change right when the Void Spirit shows. Void Spirit shows, hits the tower. You see what I mean, guys? Do you see how maybe you're not doing those things in your pubs? You haven't properly identified who actually threatens you, and you don't farm around those type of things. If you don't have vision of certain heroes, you basically need to assume if they're competent that they are ganking you. Right? It's okay to lose a little bit of farm to make sure that you can put them proper map pressure. What I mean by that is now, because he didn't panic and leave, right? He didn't TP bottom to defend, he can cut this top wave, put some pressure on the tier 3 top, and get closer to his Scotty, which is a major time in this game. It counters Weaver, it counters Owl, counters Lion, counters Oracle. But even here, right? Once again, same thing. How often do you see a Terrorblade 20 minutes into the game solo walking up to a tier 3? Not too often, right? Now, he's not going to pop meta, but he's going to cut the wave with his illusion and buy as much time as possible, forcing rotations. And this is what I mean. Most people in pubs would be doing what right now, guys? What would they be doing? They'd be bottom. They'd be bottom because they'd be panicking. Their team would be panicking. They'd be like, oh, we're losing our tier 2. We need to fight them, blah, blah, blah. But his point of critical mass, the point of the game where he is the strongest, is Scotty by a long shot. When he hits Scotty, he is a massive problem for the enemy team. He has to get there, though. And so until he gets there, he's playing this game, right? He's playing the split push game. He's shoving waves as far as possible. And people don't do this in pubs. They make one bad panic TP and they completely grief their ability to farm at all. Because for instance, if he TP'd bottom here, what could the enemy team do? They could walk mid, take the mid tier 1, then go wherever they want because they just killed the mid tier 1 and there's no pressure on the side lanes. Do you see what I'm saying? One messed up TP can cause the entire map to collapse on you. People don't realize this. These little decisions are what makes him rank 1 and me not rank 1, because I will make mistakes like that, right? Which is why I'm still learning from his games. On top of that, great decision here. This is just really heads up from EG. Now another example. Okay. We're gonna skip to the end game, to the late game after this, but another example of respecting his opponents and what I'd like to call a desperation smoke. Now you might be like, Speed, desperation smoke? They're up 1k. Yeah, but they got an ALK. Like, just being real, their team fight is so bad compared to EG. It's so bad, right? They have to go for pickoffs. If they don't go for pickoffs, late game's gonna be so hard. I mean, like, they have Ravage and Coil and Pango Roll and, you know, Roar. It's just so bad. I mean, IG, they got some kite, right? They can kite in and out, and that has to be how they play the fights, which can be a counter to team fight, but, you know, with the amount of stuns EG has, you're going to get caught. Nonetheless, they're going to go for a pickoff, is what I'm saying. They're going to try to catch a TB, burst him to start the fight. And so right here, what does he see? What does he see? Nothing. Nothing. The answer's nothing. So is your triangle safe? No, it's not. People might assume it's safe because it's like, oh, it's my side of the map. And a lot of the time in pubs, it is safe, and so you could take the risk. I'm just showing you what he's doing. He's literally dragging this camp back because he thinks he's getting ganked. And so the difference between him getting ganked here and here is worlds different. Worlds different, because if he gets ganked here, Tide can shift in Ravage to defend him. If he gets ganked here, he's probably just dead. Tide can walk over, but the enemy team can easily stay in vision. They can also easily have vision of him when they walk up the hill, but if they see these creeps getting pulled out, they're going to have to funnel into a very awkward position to fight, right? They don't want to be in here. They're going to get stuck in a very bad position. Pango's going to crush him. Tide's going to crush him, and so he shifts back, and he waits for his team to push up before farming this camp. Right? So now he farms his camp, gets the Scotty, and what do you know? Ho-ho! What do you know? This is why he's rank 1. You're not, and I'm not. That's just extremely good foresight. Extremely good foresight. Now he starts the fight by putting a Q onto the Lion, right? The Scotty slow from the illusion as well as the Q slow easily allows him to kill off this Lion, which ends up being the case. Now he puts some illusions onto the Oracle, a very solid decision. Oracle simply cannot deal with the illusions, so he blinks away from them, but keeps the illusions onto Oracle. Al can't do anything against this TV. Obviously, he's completely useless as the illusions finish off the Oracle. He'll chase down the Alk, and it's a free fight for EG. And you'll see, the only way they could have lost that fight, really, with how good their team fight is if ARTEEZY got picked off. And as we head into the late game with only 3 more minutes into the match, I just want to say that lane cutting never stops. In fact, the later the game goes, the more you should be cutting waves, because the more heroes can't deal with your illusions. Once the game goes past like 25-30 minutes and you have 2 items, most supports can't do anything. Lion can, to be fair. They have a Lion who can just mana drain, kill your illusions from full HP, but most heroes can't. And so in pubs, in general, you can get away with this. You'll see he sends an illusion all the way to the bottom wave. Just gonna follow it on free camera so you guys see what I'm talking about. From mid, sends this illusion all the way here. Obviously, Lion is not gonna predict this, and so yeah, he's able to cut the entirety of the bottom wave, and that's super valuable. That means no bottom push, right? If the time comes, a full creep wave for ARTEEZY. It also can allow them to slowly start taking these towers, which they want to do later on. But it's mostly just for information, as if the enemy team is not pushing this in, they're probably mid, making a desperation play, and that's exactly what they're doing, right? They're kind of just sitting around mid, waiting for things to happen, clearly looking for a fight, because if people aren't farming lane creeps, they're probably looking for a fight or their Herald. And here is where the game ends. He's got his 3-item timing because he did not get caught. Very hard start and not a great Terrorblade game. Void Spirit Lion is not easy, but he made it out of the trenches, and with some good pressure and map creation by him and his team, he's able to win the game, and now this fight is going to be very simple. He basically just has to hit the person closest to him. In fact, they GG out before he even auto-attacks anyone. But alright, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this helps you farm a little bit better in your games. And just, I want to persuade you guys, continue to look at the map. Look at the map, look at the map, look at the map, and play aggressive parts of the map when you can. If you don't do that, you will get closed into your side of the map. You will not force TPs back. You will not open up the map for yourself and even for your team. Splitting up people has so many benefits, and so please try to do it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace. And that's all. But remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the gameleap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.